folks. Beautiful, hot day here in Midtown Toronto. Welcome to the rooftop balcony here. My name is Colin. I'm with the education team at Toronto and Region Conservation Authority. Thanks so much for tuning in today and joining. I should mention one of the names I tend to go by, the handle for the younger audience is Shaggy. So if you feel like picking me at Shaggy today, that's totally cool with me. Yeah, well, what is spring, right? I mean, I think it goes without saying this is one for the books for a variety of reasons. But one of the things I've been really tuned into and really excited to see and fascinated by is how sort of connected many people are in a way that they haven't been before, or rediscovering with the natural world and connecting with nature. You know, everything from like, you know, the joys of getting your fingers dirty in soil to bird watching and all these exciting ways to engage with the natural world. I think it's, you know, it's understandable. You know, we're craving this right now, given the reality, the pandemic reality we've all been in. So I thought it's a perfect opportunity to introduce this concept of EcoHealth, as well as some ideas about how to put it into practice in a relatively simple way, using our five senses in an urban nature model. But before I do that, housekeeping. Number one. So for those who have tuned in before to these Facebook Lives that TRCA has put on, you'll know that we usually ask people to hold their questions to the end, which you're welcome to ask throughout if you'd like. We've got a great back-end team, Kelsey and Raya, helping to answer. But I do have an ask, and that's, in addition to your questions, or rather than your questions, if you're open to it, we'd really like to know what sessions might interest you in the future related to At Home with Nature. I'm going to be talking about a lot today, and just skimming the surface with some props and, you know, technology or whatnot. If there's anything that interests you that you'd like to learn more about, it would be really great to hear from you. So please let us know. Contact us at TRCA or hashtag At Home with Nature. And keep it in mind, at the end of the session today, I'd love to ask you what your ideas are. If you have questions too, that's totally cool too. But really trying to get some ideas flowing of what might be valuable to you, given we have a whole team back end to help put these At Home with Nature sessions together. Number two, speaking of the back end, you're going to hear me refer to Kelsey and Raya. As I talk about different resources, they're going to post it on the chat live so that you can access them. If you are accessing this as a recorded video after the fact, welcome. There will be a link in the comment section or the description of where you access this video with access to a resource page where we'll list them all out. So just keep that in mind. And then number three, in terms of who this session is being designed for, really the idea here is you know, adults with kids in their life, right? Caregivers, whether they be parents or teachers or grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, family, friends, the list goes on. You know, we're all educators, right? In my opinion. And, you know, it's an important role we all play now more than ever. So the goal really of today in this little session is to try to, you know, inspire, but also share some easy tips to be able to, you know, help engage with the natural world with a younger audience. So anyways, that's my goal at least. We'll see how it goes. My biggest challenge today is going to be the time. My team has been very strict, saying, nope, we've got this amount of time. So I might be rushing through and not be able to tell everything I wanted, but that's all good. So, EcoHealth. What in the world is EcoHealth? So the definition of EcoHealth really has to do with this relationship between human health or human well-being and environmental health. So very simply, it's something that, you know, we all know intuitively, right? Nature is good for us. You know, green space is good for us. You know, it's good for us physically. It's good for us mentally, cognitively, emotionally, intellectually. You know, healing, like you name it. It's really incredible. And what's really exciting is there's so much research that has been mounting over the decades and years that is really demonstrating this through peer-reviewed, you know, research or whatnot. And I encourage you, actually, with that in mind, I'm not going to get into the details today, but take my word for it. Nature's good for us. Check out ecohealthontario.ca. It's a great collection of resources that dives into this topic. In particular, there's an infographic, or there's a section of infographics that help to visually represent all this data and research in a pleasing way. So definitely encourage you to check that out. And Raya and Kelsey, if you're okay posting that now, that would be fantastic for everyone. All right, well, enough about the why. We all know that. How do we do it, right? How do we practice good eco-health? And this is something that's exciting because many of us, a lot of us, are doing this already without even knowing it, right? Eco-health, preventative healthcare is what, you know, we're talking about here. We're all doing it when we go for walking our dogs or bird watching or taking a walk in the woods. It's called forest bathing, by the way, in Japan. There's a whole field about that to dive into, but not yet. Yeah, there's so much out there that that is really good for us in regards to this all this nature and good stuff, right? In terms of the focus today, in regards to how we're going to be able to talk about this streamline a little bit, because we can't do everything. So what I thought I'd share is some information about a 5 sense urban nature walk. And the idea here is we have these 5 senses with us all the time, so it's sort of easy to sort of access. Most of us have access to it. You'll see lots of props and tech that I'll refer to as well. That being said, you don't need any of this stuff, right? It could just be as simple as going up for a walk. I encourage you actually to check out my colleague Raya's video back on May 12th, which involved an indoor nature walk, purely imagination for younger kids. So it's really staggering what you can do without very much. And one of the things I like to keep in mind is this sort of 50-50 rule. If you try to plan for 50% maybe where you go and what you want to talk about, and the safety and all that for sure, but then the other 50 leave completely open. Natural curiosity, right? Really seizing what the interests are of your learners. Teachable moments. If a red-tailed hawk swoops down, you better believe that's what the kids are going to be interested in, right? So anyways, just those are a few high-level tips, but why don't we dive into, I guess, the 5 senses that I was hoping to chat about today. Sight. Okay, so when we think of sight, obviously, we think of urban wildlife, which is great. One thing to keep in mind is that we may not always see urban animals in action, but certainly what we're going to be able to get a chance to see are signs of these wildlife, of animals in an urban setting. So this is where it's fun. You can, get into a bit of a detective mode and look for signs, whether it's, tracks, right? In the winter is a great time to see tracks, mud as well. Look up in the trees for shelters, whether it be birds' nests or squirrels' nests, drays, those big clumps of trees, or leaves in the tree. And then certainly a kid favorite, I guarantee this, poop. Okay, you talk about poop and you're golden, right? The science of scat, if you will, is always a winner. So again, these are some ways that you can, even if you don't see the animals, you can see signs of them. And then there's tons of fun stuff, whether it be binoculars or magnifying glass. If you want to get old school here with a compass, again, that'd be a great session if anyone's interested in the future, but tons of fun there. Guidebooks are always helpful. Binoculars, industrial strength. We all have enough of these toilet paper rolls lying around these days, but makes it really fun, right? In addition, bird feeders, right? I mean, what a great way to attract wildlife to where you're living. Your home, balcony, rooftop, backyard. It's funny. This is squirrel-proof. It's the latch there, but usually this is down, a little bit below the white cedar there, but. My kids and I have been having as much fun watching the squirrels go to crazy acrobatics just to get access to the birdseed there. So again, tons of fun. Another thing related to habitat in your backyard, TRC has a lot of resources related to how to garden for habitat in mind, as well as also fact sheets and whatnot. So Ryan and Kelsey, if you're okay posting please the home and garden section of TRCA. And again, there is lots of material out there already, but we'd be happy to talk more about that. But how to attract wildlife to where provide habitat to where we're living. A final resource related to sight that I'll share. It's an organization called Learning for Sustainable Future. They have fantastic resources, across the country. They're nationally based. One of the resources that, in particular, for educators, I like that connect to this topic. I like all their stuff. It's great. It's called Step Outside, and it's this monthly or every 2-3 times a month, I guess, they send out a newsletter about just what's happening outdoors in regards to nature seasonally. And again, that might help provide some of those little seeds to focus on in terms of discussion points or whatnot. So Kelsey and Ryan, if you're okay sharing that too, that would be fantastic, please. All right, we talked about sight. Let's jump into smell. So smell, it's really true what they say, right? You take time to stop and smell the roses. I mean, this time of year, like what isn't in bloom, right? Like everything is blooming. You can smell the lilacs from the tree right below, our neighbors there. It's beautiful, and I mean that's just something that is so easy that it just takes a little bit of mindfulness sometimes to tune into that. I would love very much to tell a whole story about this tree here. It's an eastern white cedar, native. It's one of my favorite stories to tell in regards to scent, and some people call it the tree of life. But can't get into it unless there's time. But basically, if you break up some of these needles in your fingertips, and you'll see these trees all over the place in Toronto or in urban areas. Take a deep breath, and that, I promise you, is one of the most fresh, nicest smells that you'll smell for a while. So, again, lots of great, opportunities to use one's sense of smell. Hey, skunks too. Don't forget. I mean, my partner Caroline's helping me in the front end here. She's probably not going to like me talking about this, but we had a skunk move into our shed basement, like below, and it's awesome, right? My kids and I are enjoying all these daily interactions with our friend the skunk. So, yeah, you never know. All right, moving along. Sight. We talked about smell, sound. Okay, so sound. I mean, you can hear right now, right? There's tons of urban noises. It's fact. But there's also tons of natural sounds too. Like you can hear birds chirping, you can hear wind blowing through the trees, insects buzzing. It really does just take this mindfulness, the idea to be mindfully aware of what's going on. And I do use that word very purposefully because that is a whole field in itself, mindfulness, that we could probably get into if there was interest from any of you. Nudge, nudge. But the key, I think, is just, like I said, tuning in. Birds. Let's just talk about birds for a second, because oh my gosh, they're all around. The calls, the songs. It's incredibly. It's this world all around us that some of us don't always appreciate. But you don't even have to know what the birds are necessarily to be able to appreciate. If you would like to help your ID knowledge, there's a great app I'd love to share. And Kelsey and Ryan, if you can post the app now. It's a free app. It's called the Merlin Bird ID app at a Cornell lab at Cornell University, which is pretty much an institution, just a very respected institution when it comes to birding. And what this app does, it feeds in all the data from another app called eBird, which is related to citizen science. We don't have time right now, but could in the future. And it helps people identify what they're seeing very locally within their area, because eBird is made up of birders who are tracking all over the world what they're seeing and where. So, this Merlin Bird ID feeds that into your app, so it helps you figure out what's happening in the area. Helps you ID birds. One of my favorite features with my daughter is actually just playing the database of bird calls and songs, because it's such a rich way to learn, but also have fun. Would love to play some now, but again, don't have a lot of time. I was hoping to play a little red-tailed hawk, the Hollywood bird, but maybe after. All right, touch. Moving on to touch. So often underlooked, but very powerful. Fun nature fact. Raccoons, one of their most dominant senses is touch. Especially when their paws are wet, which may not surprise many of you for those who are trying to keep them out of anything, compost bins or whatnot. They're very, very successful opportunists, or they're very dexterous claws there, don't they? It's pretty exciting. But related to touch, there's also tons of easy things to be able to observe in your natural environment. This is called a staghorn sumac. Sometimes it's called a velvet sumac, and you can't obviously feel it, but trust me, this is silky smooth. It's really pleasant to the touch. You also notice this tree all over the place. It's got red berries, even in the winter, so it's an important food source. And people can eat them too. They're high in vitamin C. You can make a jam. They're a little bitter, but they're tasty. So could be another session if anyone's interested. Velvet sumac. Just pine. The great textures to be able to feel and tickle oneself with. Black-eyed Susan. So again, these leaves are super soft. I didn't know that before it started growing. But shout out, by the way, this black-eyed Susan is from the Meadoway, and tune into Katie Turnbull's session of the Meadoway on Thursday, live from the Meadoway every Thursday. Check out what's happening with that exciting project. Cool. Well, let's move on to the next sense, which is taste. Now, obviously, this is a tricky one. Just mindful, all the health and safety bases need to be covered without a doubt. That being said, parents, guardians, you guys have a bit of an edge a little bit, because let's be honest, we live in a bit of a risk-adverse society right now, where it's tricky for other caregivers, to make decisions based on allergies and health context and all that liability. But as a parent, if you feel confident, there's nothing stopping you from helping to pick a piece of this is kale, hardy leafy green here from a garden, beautiful. This is, I call this surprised garlic, but this is garlic I grew a few years ago. I didn't know garlic was perennial, but it's come up, which is exciting, and tastes garlicky, no big surprise. So again, taste is a great way to physically, tangibly connect to nature. There's also wild gardens, right? And be careful about these ones, but certainly dandelion is a very common. Most people consider this a weed, but the leaves are edible in salad. The roots are, I believe it's a coffee and tea substitute. Even the flower heads can be fried up in a fritter. And I have tried that. My family makes fun of me to this day, but very tasty. I mean, what doesn't taste good when you deep fry it, right? So anyway, you see dandelions. You might have them in your garden. Fun to play with the kids too, big kids. And then this one you got to be really careful of. It is an invasive species, and you can see how hot it is today. It's already wilted, but this is garlic mustard. The leaves are edible. They do taste a little garlicky, but again, this you got to be very careful if it is an invasive species. Before foraging anything outside of your own garden, you need to make sure they're abiding by your local municipal bylaws. But interesting one there. Spoiler alert: we might have a garlic mustard video coming up soon, potentially, if there's interest. Cool. All right, we've talked about the 5 senses. I know I'm probably way over time. I know I'm almost afraid to look, but that's okay. I'm gonna just finish off really quick because tech is something. Technology. There's kind of like a mixed sort of approach to this in the field, right? Do you bring technology to Nature Walk? Do you not? And I don't want to get into the philosophy, but for my opinion, I mean, technology is such a great way that already many kids are connected with, and it's relevant, and I find it's a nice bridge, right? Certainly for my kids. So I'd love to share one more app. Yeah, so much. It's okay. They weren't too pricey, so we're in good shape. My binoculars fell down in case you couldn't see. Yeah. So this app is called Seek, and what it is, it's brought to you by iNaturalist. I don't have time to show you now, but an iNaturalist is an internationally accepted, recognized citizen science app to help track the natural world. Check out Emily's video, my colleague Emily's, from May 14th, I think. She talked about bioblitzes and dived into iNaturalist. But anyways, what Seek is basically, for those who know Shazam, the audio app where you hear a song, you use the app and it tells you the artist and the name of the song. Well, to me, Seek is like that for nature, right? You take a picture using your phone, your smartphone, with this app, and it will help identify what the species is. If not specifically, generally, that paired with Wikipedia, like you're good to go with what a powerful knowledge there, right? So yeah. All right, so I think that's probably enough. I mean, why don't we go into, if there's any questions you have, I'd love to answer, or rather, if there's anything specifically that it talked about that you might, want to learn more about, or if you have ideas about things you'd like to hear. Caroline, maybe you can shoot me some content. But before I forget, tomorrow we have Chef Chris with cooking with Earth, which would be really, really fun, or down to earth cooking, pardon me. Thursday, as I mentioned, Katie Turnbull in the Meadoway Live, and history buffs up there. On Friday, check out Black Creek Pioneer Village and their Facebook account. They're going live with some baking, and they've got some great history and home resources as well to check out. So, yeah. Caroline, what we got?
Hollywood bird.
What's that?
Hollywood bird.
Holly what?
Hollywood bird.
Hollywood bird. Hollywood bird. Okay, cool. Thanks for feeding that one. So, the Hollywood bird, the red-tailed hawk. My daughter makes fun of me because I love this bird. It's usually when I make believe what animal I am given day. It's usually a red-tailed hawk. The red-tailed hawk, I'll play it here maybe for you while I talk. It sounds, basically it's so like majestic, and the sound of it is so, just gets in your soul there, that it's used without a doubt whenever you see a Hollywood movie or a TV show and they want to show, a bird of prey, whether it be an eagle or a falcon or whatnot. Chances are they're using a red-tailed hawk, just based on how incredibly, incredible the call is. So I'll play it here, see if you can hear it. But it'll be one you recognize. Yeah, right? You see the canyons there and all sorts of things. So yeah, this is a bird that we see all the time in urban areas. So keep an eye out. Yeah.
Can you show some of your plants?
Yeah, for sure.
Up close.
Up close. Okay, pardon me. So this is kale. I don't know if this is going to work for you guys because I can't see what it looks on your end, but we talked about the perennial, or the garlic there. Life finds a way with that one, by the way, right? Tomatoes. We've got some black-eyed Susan. Caroline, what else do you got going there?
Really close.
Oh, closer. Yeah. Okay. Cool. There's nothing fancy here, guys. This is just our grow up in the basement, right? So, tomatoes. I think it's coriander, right, Caroline? No?
Oregano.
Oregano. We got black-eyed Susan. We're kind of growing a ton this year. I think this is what I mean. it's just anecdotal, but I'm hearing so many people getting into gardening and seeds and working with the ground of all generations, which is exciting and different backgrounds. So hopefully this is something that's going to continue. So yeah, feed it. I'll just keep talking. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's probably time, right? Sorry, we didn't get a little bit more engagement there, but I'm looking forward to seeing these comments, and hopefully people were, you had your interest piqued about different items there that we can hopefully put segments together for you. So huge thank you to obviously the back end team at TRCA. There's a huge group of people that all helped to put this together. So thank all of you, and Caroline for some front end support here. But most importantly, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Let's stay in touch, right? This is a lot of fun, so maybe I'll do it again sometime. Maybe I'll do a little quick behind the scenes tour here, just for those people who like the behind the scenes look. Anyways, see you outside, everyone.